Champions is now 11 days away, and randomly we just had a few matches after Raw. I usually do these after Raw, so at least we know what we're talking about, but it looks like they wanted to do it differently this time. They wanted to just add matches at SmackDown to make you think, oh, that's just the matches for the week, and now they got ones now, which I think the only ones we haven't gone over are the three new ones. The three new ones that have just been announced as of Raw. So let's start with the first one. And by the way, which ones we've already gone through? The Rusev match, United States title, Intercontinental title, Divas title, and of course the main event, which Cena will obviously lose to go with the rumors with his Hollywood deal, but I doubt it. But you know, if anything, Brock could, as far as we know, could go back to whatever he's been doing the past couple months before he even got the title shot at SummerSlam. But we'll see. I mean, as a champion, it should be better that he just defends every month. He's not showing up every week, so it makes the title more prestigious. It's a good thing. It's not like this. I mean, it's not a bad thing that the champion is not on every week. I mean, bad because your main champion is not there displaying the epic logo of your network, which is only $9.99 apparently, because from all these conspiracy theorists have been saying, much like Facebook Messenger being able to show naked pictures, but then again, Apple didn't have that problem. Anyway, that's another story for another time, though. But, you know, all these conspiracy theorists out here. Brock Lesnar's coming back next week, so we're going to hear from the champ anyway. But let's go to this one. This match is what I've been looking for a very long time. In WWE, for a while, I thought the WWE would shit on this match because we saw it in a six-man tag. We had the feud for a little bit because Dean Ambrose got rid of Dean Ambrose with the most epic way I've ever seen. And it does explain the Timekeeper's table is so sturdy. For those who didn't see that episode of the amazing main event of Raw a couple weeks ago, Seth Rollins faced Dean Ambrose in I believe it was a Falls Count Anywhere match, or some kind of no disqualification, street fight or something. It was an app poll, so it doesn't matter because all the stipulations are basically the same thing. So no rules, no nothing. You just have to pin them or submit them outside or something. But the Timekeeper's table was taking out, and outside of that Timekeeper's table was a stack, two stacks, actually maybe even four stacks of cinder blocks. Maybe two, I don't remember. But it was a big, big mountain of fucking cinder blocks. And Dean Ambrose was face first into the cinder blocks, and he did the blackout, or what they've been calling the curve stomp, onto the fucking cinder blocks. So it writes him out of the story for his movie he's filming, which I don't remember the name of it, like Lethal something. It's not Lethal Weapon, yeah, that's Steve Blackman, but it's Lethal, whatever. They'll fucking promote it eventually with WWE films, and it'll probably go straight to DVD like they always do. But with the Marine 4, I don't know. You know, might have to pay extra to see Summer Rae and fucking Marine 4. But, you know, with Dean Ambrose, one of the most amazing characters, just based on how he is. And it reminds me of the John Moxley of old, and it reminds me of the Seth Rollins, not the Seth Rollins, but the Tyler Black of old. But it could be the old Seth Rollins we saw in NXT, possibly. That metalhead that now has a briefcase, but can't cash it in because the champion is Brock Lesnar and the champion could be John Cena. You don't want to cash it in at that point. Have a year. Use it wisely. But we saw Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins in the same match, and the same cinder blocks were used the following week in a handicap match with him and Kane against Roman Reigns. And Roman Reigns fucking tossed a cinder block at the post, almost destroying the commentary's orbital regions. The eye, for those dumb people. Almost in half. Probably breaking an eye if it fucking went through your eye socket. I wouldn't recommend trying that out for all the idiots, by the way. I mean, there's this ice bucket challenge, and there's this fire challenge, which I would recommend to the people of the ISIS and ISIL. But that's another story for another time. But, fucking tossing a cinder block. That's risk right there. And now we have the feud that should have happened. It should have just progressed, because you're just taking out the Shield members. It makes sense. There's no stipulation as of yet, and they still have the fireworks coming out of the Night of Champions. Is that a fucking hexagon, or what the fuck? Like a polygon? What the fuck is that shape? Interesting concept though, with the little logo, with the new logo. But this is gonna be a good match. Much like the Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, I don't care who wins, but it would make sense if you are feuding him also with Orton since SummerSlam, to have Orton interfere in some way to have Seth Rollins take the win. Not that Seth Rollins needs it, but Roman Reigns, if you're going to groom him to be the next world champion, then you need to have him with a Rollins or an Orton, or even perhaps Lesnar, for a few matches before he eventually gets the title at, say, Survivor Series or WrestleMania or even the Rumble. You have to time it, because you don't have a Daniel Bryan anymore, you don't have a CM Punk anymore, thank God, but you don't have these big, and Cena's probably on his way out, so you're losing all these big names. I mean, and the ones you just pushed, Ambrose is out, Swagger's now going to job the Bo Dallas, there's no question about it, and Bo Dallas is just Bo-leaving everywhere. But you have all these big names and these old names like Big Show coming back, Mark Henry coming back, which we talked about last time. But you have all these big names. Look, this card alone, you have some big names on here like Mark Henry, an up-and-comer like Rusev. You have Sheamus, Cesaro. You have Ziggler and The Miz. You have Paige, AJ Lee, and Nikki Bella. Big stars in the Divas division-wise, but AJ Lee in a main event size, because AJ Lee debuted in the men's main events as referee and whatever. And Paige is just just born into this business. There's no question about she's going to be a big star regardless. And Nikki Bella's, believe it or not, even with this fucking storyline, that she's getting better. And the other matches we'll talk about later, as well as Cena and Lesnar coming back. But you have these big names, and you're losing them. You have to make new ones. And Roman Reigns and Rollins are two new ones, no doubt. Again, I don't care who wins, but it would make sense for Rollins to win this one. Speaking of winning this one, and Captain Obvious here, the Usos versus Goldust and Stardust. I've been waiting for this for a long time to talk about Stardust. The greatest character they've had in a long time. I love it. I love the fact that he's fucked up in the head. We know it's Cody Rhodes, but Jesus, Cody needs a gimmick. Cody needs a gimmick to get over. Not that he couldn't get over with the little face mask, and his promos are great, but this keeps him busy and in the loop because they had nothing for him. This was his last shot to begin with, and I love how he's going to the role of Stardust. Reminds me of another wrestler, but I might be thinking something. But anyway, we have the Usos, and this feud actually started because of something really retarded. If you actually caught it during the tag title match a couple weeks ago, the Usos flew out, and Jey Uso hurt his knee or his leg or all of his fucking leg at that point. Because Jericho fucked up his knee in the cage match, but this was before the cage, way before the cage. And Jey Uso and them were brawling, and Stardust or Goldust, whoever's legal in the match, goes back in the ring, and Jey Uso's getting back in the ring. He holds onto the apron and stops himself right before the count of 10. That was the biggest fucking swerve of the night. The biggest fuck finish. The biggest Russo swerve in probably the century. Because sure, you're hurt and you're a champion and you want to use the champion's advantage. These are fucking faces. These are faces using heel tactics. I mean, that's not something that hadn't happened before. But Jesus, I'm surprised people didn't see it. The Usos have gone from a great tag team to chicken shit heels overnight, and Goldust were the faces because they wanted a rematch, and Jey wouldn't do it because Jey's fucking hurt, and they beat the shit out of him. That's what you fucking do. And that's what's going to happen. Night of Champions. I hate to say it. For all those Uso fans that wait, they say Os and you say O, and you say Us and they say O. But I could say fuck and I could say you. Because it's not going to happen. There is no way that the Usos will retain these titles. No way. There's a time when champions need to lose their title, and this is a time when they need to lose their titles. God damn it! It's ridiculous. That is the reason they're feuding. That is so dumb, but it's so great because I just love them getting the shit kicked out of them. And if you hurt a fucking Samoan, that's badass. I mean, sure, it doesn't matter if you fucking hurt Ziggler because he got concussion. It can happen. You hurt Miz, not a big deal. You know, once you hit the moneymaker. You hurt Henry, that's a big deal. Or he's a big guy. But if you fucking hurt a Samoan, that is awesome. But it also makes you a threat with the Office. To be fair, Jay fucked up because he fucking ran up in the sky like a goddamn idiot, did his fucking flippy do shit, and broke his knee, and that's what he deserved. But that's what happens when you take this high risk for nothing. What the fuck? But yeah, before I ran on even more, there's no fucking way. Speaking of breaking their knee, Randy Orton, out of random, faces fucking Jericho, who fucking destroyed his knee in an epic cage match, the match of the night, the match of the year possibly, match of the week no doubt, with Bray Wyatt in the cage, doing the fucking Superfly crossbody, not even the Superfly splash, the fucking crossbody from the top of the cage, fuck up your knee. And this match is simple. This match is going to have Randy Orton bring back the Viper like we saw last night in the piss break of the night, because again, they showed fucking Roman Reigns and Randy Orton in an attack match when they were hyping it up for the season premiere of Raw last Monday, and they start him in the fucking singles match. And then he tags in fucking Rollins, so there goes that feud. You tag in Kane, and it doesn't matter because they've had a match before, so it doesn't matter. But why not start Jericho? Have Jericho and Rollins, a match that eventually did happen in the tag match, which was the highlight of that fucking match. The match I actually stopped taking a shit and actually watched the fucking match. It was great. And of course, Cena did his fucking shit, and they did a home spot and fucking Hogan cheer, Hogan talking shit. But this match is. It depends if obviously Jericho is medically cleared because this match is going to happen apparently. But what we saw in the premiere, Randy Orton destroys Jericho's knee in the training room. So it depends. Pretty much this is Jericho's way out of the feud of WWE. He's not going to be here forever. You know, because Fozzie's doing their. I mean, he has the fucking Fozzie tattoo showing in the fucking thing. It's obvious. Jericho will not win this match. He's never beat Orton, at least to my knowledge. Maybe he won recently, but when he was a champion, but he didn't beat Orton. What in the cards didn't happen. Should have happened, but it didn't. But what happens here is Orton is going to unleash the Viper, and Jericho gets destroyed. Now, the same situation with the Rollins. Let's say it depends when these matches are. Say Roman Reigns is the opener with Rollins. It would be a great opener, by the way. And later in the night, we have Jericho and Orton. Roman Reigns can come back, have payback, providing if Orton attacks Reigns behind the referee's back to help Rollins win. And we have, later in the night, Reigns attacking Orton, and then Jericho gets the win off of that. That's the only way you can really see Jericho winning this match. It just depends when these matches are on the card, because these aren't the matches with the titles on the line. Night of Champions, all the belts will be on the line eventually, and I think actually all the fucking belts are on the line now. We have the WWE, the Network WWE title, the Divas title, the Tag titles, Intercontinental, and US. Yeah, that's all the titles now. So you have to have matches to do that. One of these could be the pre-show actually, so it depends if they're on the pre-show as well. But we'll see what happens in 11 days as all the belts will be on the line and shit's going down.